Every single day, a battle takes place inside you. It's not between good and evil. It's not between success and failure. It's between the strongest version of who you are and the weakest one. It's not your enemy, it's a part of you. But it's the part that thrives on comfort. It hates discomfort. It avoids challenge. It's the part that tells you you've done enough when you barely scratched the surface. And every time you listen to that voice, you move further from your potential. The disciplined version and the distracted version. The focused one and the fearful one. You just need to stop negotiating with it. Stop reasoning with it. Stop letting it make decisions. Decisions are where power lives. Winners don't wait until they feel like it. They decide ahead of time. They commit and then follow through no matter what. They don't negotiate with their weak self in the morning. They already decided the night before. When you show up on the days you don't feel like it, when you honor your standards instead of your feelings, that's where real confidence is built. Not from talking yourself into action, but from becoming the kind of person who moves without the negotiation. They don't ask themselves if they're in the mood to train. They already know training is non-negotiable. That mindset eliminates the internal debate. And where there's no debate, there's no delay. And when you give your weak self the power to choose, it will always choose what feels easy in the moment, even if it costs you everything in the long term. Every time you pause and question your plan, it jumps in. Every time you doubt your ability, it speaks up. To live in alignment, to act with integrity. And integrity means doing what you said you would do, especially when no one's watching. It's because they're addicted to comfort. They want change without challenge, progress without pressure, success without sacrifice. But it doesn't work that way. Everything you want requires a price. And your weak self will always try to convince you that the price is too high. But that's a lie. The real cost is not what it takes to succeed. The real cost is staying the same, especially when it's hard. Especially when the weak self screams the loudest. Every time you feel tired, it offers you a way out. But that voice only has power if you listen. It only influences you if you engage with it. So don't recognize it, acknowledge it, and then move anyway. And too often, the weak version wins. Not because it's more powerful, but because you keep negotiating with it. That voice inside that tells you to sleep a little longer, to skip the workout, to scroll instead of build, to quit when it's hard. That's your weak self. The truth is, the most dangerous conversation you'll ever have isn't with anyone else. It's the one you have with yourself. The one where you justify quitting, where you explain away your laziness, where you shrink your goals to protect your ego. That's the conversation that kills dreams. Stop letting it vote on decisions that shape your future. Because the more you entertain it, the stronger it becomes. And the stronger it becomes, the harder it is to hear the voice of your higher self, the version of you that wants to grow, to lead, to achieve, to become something extraordinary. And the longer you allow that negotiation, the further you drift from the life you want. You have to stop giving your weak self a seat at the table. The weak self is always loud in the moment. It's persuasive. It knows exactly what to say to get you to delay, to excuse, to avoid. But its words are hollow, and they always leave you with regret. You never feel better after giving in. You feel smaller. You feel stuck. You feel like you betrayed your own potential, because you did. But here's the good news. You, Dan T, need to fight that version of yourself forever. Start making decisions before the moment. The weak self feeds on hesitation. There's something powerful that happens when you act despite resistance. You weren't meant to live life constantly stuck between who you are and who you could be. You were meant to close that gap. The reason most people don't grow isn't because they lack information. Every moment you spend negotiating with your weaker nature is a moment you could have used to build strength. Every time you hesitate, you hand power to the part of you that wants to remain average. And momentum kills the voice of your weak self faster than any debate ever could. They still hear the weak voice. They just don't take its advice. They let actions speak louder, and because of that, they grow. They win, they rise. It's not about how you feel. It's about who you are becoming. But when you stop negotiating, you flip the switch. Don't explain. Don't wait. Just act. Not because the world changes, but because you do. Because you stop giving power to the part of you that wants to stay small. Because you rise above the excuses. Because you stop negotiating. Move in alignment with your vision, with your standard, with your purpose. Let your habits speak louder than your hesitation. You wake up knowing who you are, and more importantly, who you are not. From this moment forward, you move with purpose. Because you're not waiting to feel ready, you're choosing to be ready. And that choice made over and over is what makes you unstoppable. You are not the voice that wants to quit. You are not the feeling that wants to shrink. You are not the hesitation that wants to delay. What you need now is resolve. The resolve to act when it's inconvenient. The resolve to train through resistance. The resolve to commit with clarity. And the courage to never again let your weaker self lead. You become someone who acts out of principle, not pressure. Who creates when it's hard. Who stands when everyone else folds. That's the you that wins. That's the you that builds the life others only wish for. Not because you're special, but because you made a choice. You chose not to negotiate with your weak self. You chose to lead your life instead of be led by your impulses. Someone who doesn't just dream, but executes. Someone who doesn't need permission or perfect conditions to move forward. You don't need to feel like it. You don't need to wait for inspiration. You need to move. Because motion builds momentum. The strongest people you know aren't fearless. They just stopped giving their fear a microphone. You can't eliminate the weak self, but you can dominate it. Can overpower it through consistent decisions made in favor of your higher purpose. Through building discipline like a muscle. Through keeping promises to yourself until keeping them becomes part of your identity. When you make discipline your identity, everything changes. You stop needing motivation. You stop riding emotional waves. You stop starting over every Monday. You are the one who shows up anyway, who moves with intention, who trains when it's uncomfortable. From this point on, the challenge is simple. Every time that weaker voice speaks up, don't argue. This is the moment where everything begins to shift. You already have the strength. You already have the vision. Winners don't debate discipline. They live it. So decide now. No more negotiation. No more compromise with comfort.